Thank you, Rachel. Good evening. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Ember Melcher, and I'm Chief Product Officer at NIRSleep. And I'd like to start tonight with a simple question. How much better could you be sleeping? If you're like me, this question might provoke some guilt. I'm not sleeping perfectly, and I know why. I drink too much caffeine. I don't have a good enough mattress. I'm not keeping to my routine. But there's actually a really good chance that your poor sleep might not be your fault. 40% of US adults are estimated to have at least one sleep disorder. 8% of them are in treatment. And this is for a condition that we can usually treat if we know that you have it. Now, there are a lot of reasons for underdiagnosis, but a major barrier is the diagnostic process itself. You have two choices for testing right now, at home or in the clinic. Home sleep tests don't seem too bad. There's a couple of gadgets to deal with, but at least you're in your own bed. So just follow these simple user instructions and try not to become one of the 1 in 8 patients who fails to get a good reading even after 2 nights of trying, even if you call a 24-hour helpline. Because if you are one of those patients, then you get sent to take the clinic test anyway. Clinic tests, called polysomnography, are so complicated that a live technician supervises you all night to make sure that one of the 21 objects attached to your body does not get dislodged. That's where we come in. NIRSleep is a wireless wearable healthcare device that optically detects sleep architecture. Using near-infrared spectroscopy, we can see past the scalp, past the skull, to directly measure brain oxygenation, which is correlated to sleep architecture. Similar technology is FDA approved for other applications like anesthesiology. The device is reusable. It adheres to your forehead with a double-sided sticker either side, as long as you don't put it in the middle where you don't have a brain because it splits down there. We can work with that. It can also be shipped directly to and from patients, so there's no clinic visits required. We're going to launch with a business model offering sleep tests as a service to the clinics. We'll manage the inventory, we'll manage the back and forth with the patients, and we think this will really help more people take that first step to treatment and drive more traffic to these clinics. But at scale, NIRSleep will be a virtual sleep clinic and will enable the entire journey from diagnosis to successful treatment to happen online or over the phone. Powered by telehealth consultations, which are already accepted practice in sleep medicine, and using machine learning on an ever-growing data set, we can learn so much about this underdiagnosed population and really start to improve patient outcomes. Sleep disorder clinics are a large market, estimated at $7.5 billion annually. Of that, $2 billion a year is going to testing alone. There has been steady but not spectacular growth for the last 10 or 15 years. There's about 3,000 clinics in the US today, but they have large gaps in geographic coverage, and in more densely populated areas, they have long wait lists. Meanwhile, people are telling us how they want to spend their money. Home health monitoring is growing at almost 30% a year, and companies like Everlywell or 23andMe have demonstrated that patients want data, and they want objective data, and they want it at home. Near miss. Our current competition are home sleep tests. I referenced the apnea link earlier. WatchPad is another notable example. These two companies established an important precedent for us because they use non-EEG signals to diagnose sleep disorders, like our technology will also do. But they've been available for 10 years or more, and so they haven't really been the revolution that they could have been. NIRSleep's journey started in 2013 when the initial patent was filed. We've recently received notice from the patent office that they're beginning to review that, which is excellent news. We passed an initial feasibility trial in 2017, led by Duke researchers, against polysomnography, where our device was able to detect the same apneic events that the PSG was detecting. We started our team last year after we took the exclusive license from NC State. Our CEO and our CTO have technical backgrounds. I'm an economist, and our COO is an Air Force veteran. We will finish this year by revising our device to enhance the sensitivity, and then preparing for another trial this fall with human subjects with that new design. We're aggressively seeking non-dilutive funding, such as grants or contracts with the government and military. And we are preparing for an FDA meeting because we do intend to be part of the diagnostic process as an approved device. So that is one reason we're planning for a clinical trial next year. And by 2021, we hope to launch commercially so that NIRSleep can bring enlightened sleep sensing to patients, because your poor sleep might not be your fault. Thank you.
At what point in development you would explore this question, but is this like eventually an over-the-counter product? Is this something that a doctor has to recommend? And if it is a medical recommendation or prescription, would insurance cover this for the individual?
So this is probably the most delicate strategy question we're facing as a team. And we're getting mixed feedback from clinician interviews. Some of them understand our desire to be FDA approved and be eligible for reimbursement codes with current insurance practice. But others have said that they want this product now, they need the traffic, and we could skip the FDA and still find a buyer with them. So I don't think we've ruled out either option. We definitely don't want to muck up our chances with the FDA by doing something consumer-based first. So I would say that's probably pending expert advice about the regulatory landscape.
So a lot of insurance companies are doing internal wellness type initiatives, right? Is it possible for you to work directly with an insurance company that they would launch this as part of an initiative to give employees a rebate back if they participate in this and wear this device and get the information, they can get that money back in their paychecks?
That would be great. I think it would work really well. This is a pretty low friction device, and so for large populations, you would learn a lot. Sleep disorders are commonly comorbid with a range of other very serious conditions like cardiovascular health or diabetes. And so getting an earlier eye into how fixing sleep could help improve outcomes for those other diseases would be really valuable for an insurance company. So if you know anybody who might want to talk.
So you mentioned that initially this might be lead gen for sleep clinics, they as a feeder, but eventually to replace the need to go to one. So does your device capture all the information that's captured at a sleep clinic? Is it going to need a future generation of the device would capture that? Can you just talk about its ability to capture all the information that's currently being captured, the process?
So we're not getting everything that the polysomnography is getting. They do have 21 gadgets for a reason. So for example, they put sensors on your leg which can detect restless leg syndrome. Ours is probably not going to get there. Eventually it might get more complicated, but there's so much value in keeping it simple and lightweight and easy to use that I don't know if that would be our approach. And in many cases, clinicians have told us that if it's a severe enough case that they would need the extra data from the other kinds of sensors included in the clinical tests. But that the screening tool would be so powerful for changing the market dynamics, they're still very interested.
I know you are still thinking about your go-to-market strategy, but have you guys discussed internally what's the capital raise required to at least get to an MVP?
So we are fortunate so far to be founder funded, and we think that we'll be able to finish our feasibility trials as planned with our own money. And we've been very lucky to have a lot of grants that we're eligible for. So we haven't given up on the hope that we can do this with non-dilutive funding. But we're not against private capital, and a private investor could definitely help us grow faster. So we're not raising, and we haven't come to that exact number yet. But it could be in the cards eventually.